You're married now.
I've been married for, oh, geez, a good 6 weeks or something like that.
Well, people have been asking me for years, like, is Tim married? Tim and Téa married? They love you too.
I feel really blessed and kind of honored that people have such goodwill towards us. But we did make a solemn vow that if being married changed our relationship, we would quickly get divorced and go back to the way it was because it was so good. You and Tyne Daly are brother and sister. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
It's
People are
only been
shocked.
40 years. Come on. So
People are still shocked by that, by the way.
my mom was a wonderful, interesting person, and during my formative years, a terrible drunk. The next thing I know, we are driving down this median, like down this thing on the grass, and then up the other side, like wheels spinning, and we get on this highway and we're driving the opposite direction. We're going the wrong way on a 3-lane highway. Could someone please recognize me for something I did and not something I have no control over? Like, you're handsome. Okay. Oh, I'm about to say something really personal and I really shouldn't.
You should.
I made the mistake of thinking that because my kids were older, that I could have the perfect divorce.
What was the problem with telling them everything's going to be normal?
That it turns out that's a lie.
I wasted years of therapy. I could have just come on this podcast.
You probably got more info out of celebrities than anyone else.
In my private life, I was living a nightmare.
This was definitely no stock podcast.
I think we ought to do this every week now.
It's just utterly inappropriate that you're here in Los Angeles. It just makes no sense to me at all. It's the cognitive dissonance is just echoing in my brain.
I have the same for you. I'm like, you are not an LA person, you're New York, but you were LA for a long time.
I was, and I will say that I don't know if we've talked so much. I don't know what is left to say, but if I ask people to write my biography, people who don't know me or haven't looked me up on the internet, they invariably place me in Southern California. They say like, oh, you grew up in LA, maybe Malibu, and you're like, prom king, and I mean, they just couldn't be more wrong, and it has something to do with, well, probably not now because I look like a Unabomber, but
You look great. I like this whole look.
thank you.
This looks very. You have a different
you.
look every time we chat.
Yeah,
I feel like.
yeah, I know.
But nobody pegs you for Suffer in New York.
Not a single person.
Real? Well, I
Yeah.
know Suffer.
I know, you know, suffering.
Also, you have been in the news with me lately. They've been quoting our interviews.
Who?
People, LA Times, E.
Really?
Yes.
What are they quoting?
Well, you're married now.
I am.
Congratulations. I already congratulated you, but publicly, congrats.
Yeah.
So
I got married.
your wedding was in the news, and then they went back and they found things from my show.
Oh wow.
I don't know how, but it kept coming up for me.
Oh wow. Well, good. There you
Yeah,
go.
I like it. So thanks for that.
Oh, you're very welcome. Anytime.
Speaking of that, you're married now.
I'm married now. I've been married for, oh, geez, a good 6 weeks or something like that. Yeah, we did this tiny little thing with, people who we were either directly responsible for bringing to the world or people who were, responsible for us. And it's funny. Our officiate, who was a fantastic guy, and really wonderful and funny, and an actor who's, internet, by the power vested in him by the internet, he married us. And I think he very innocently posted a picture of us, and somehow the algorithm got a hold of it. And the next thing you know, it's in People magazine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I was like, I feel like you would never tell anybody.
No, I mean, it's not like it was a secret, but we were just having a private ceremony. We didn't feel the need to, blast it out to the world. And it got out there anyway.
So who is this? Who posted?
Our friend.
Come on.
Our friend Josh.
Josh.
Yeah.
Josh who?
Josh.
Oh, that Josh.
Listen, I'm not going to make the same fuck up that he did by outing him. He outed us, and we're just going to leave it.
Okay, so was Téa okay with that? Because she's really the one who doesn't like to be public, right?
Yeah, she was fine. No harm, no foul. And listen, people were going to find out eventually, and then that would have been something. So
Yeah. Well, people have been asking me for years, like, is Tim married? Are Tim and Téa married?
well,
They
look,
love you too. As
look,
we've talked about this before, they love you too.
well, we love us too, also, and it's really sweet. I feel really blessed and kind of honored that people have such goodwill towards us. I don't really dabble in the social media anymore, but I'm told by people that do that there are just tons of positive comments and outpouring of support and love, which is great. And Tay and I were together for 11 years before we got married. I asked her to marry me after 2 years, and she said yes, but let's wait a beat. And then she asked me to marry her in December, and I mean, and it just took us a while. I mean, we're such numbskulls. We wanted to get married January 1st, but we at the last minute we realized we needed a marriage license. Duh. And then that took a whole thing. But we wanted our kids there, so we worked it out.
So you asked her to marry you 2 years in.
Oh yeah.
You knew. I know you knew. But...
Oh, I was absolutely positive. And as a matter of fact, I told this friend of mine, this is after we'd been together for, maybe 6 months. I said, I would be shocked if we're not married in the next 3 years. And it just took a little longer.
Mm-hmm. Did she know though at that time? She said yes, but well, let's wait. But like,
I think she knew, but she'd been married twice before, so there was a little bit of a pause. Like, is this going to jinx things? And but we did make a solemn vow that if being married changed our relationship, we would quickly get divorced and go back to the way it was because it was so good. So I'm going to drop her like a hot rock if things get funky, but they're not. They're all good.
yeah. I mean, do you think that would really happen if things got bad, that you could just drop the certificate?
Everything is fine.
I know.
I don't want to go there.
Things have been good, and it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So waiting kind of made it maybe more obvious.
I guess it was obvious. It's also, I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel a little bit different. And it's not like, a deeper commitment or any of the cliche stuff. It just feels like, I don't know, maybe it has something to do with the fact that, for me anyway, it's, quarter till dead. And it's like, it's just this sort of knowing, this kind of peaceful knowing that we're going to spend the rest of our days together.
Mm-hmm. So that's maybe the difference.
Yeah.
Since.
Also, I mean, listen, I told her that, a big part of it was that I wanted to make sure that I had a responsible person to pull the plug or stick me in the right home. Because my kids, I don't know, I don't know how well they do with that, but Téa could put me in a nice place.
Well, I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
I mean, you guys were doing great before, but it's interesting that it does feel a little bit different.
Yeah.
Feels weird because now you call her your wife too.
It's kind of fun. I still sometimes. The other day Téa was on the phone with some customer service something. Oh, it was the Screen Actors Guild. My union, because of course they, canceled my health insurance.
Why?
Listen, don't get me started.
Okay.
But the Screen Actors Guild, SAG-AFTRA, is one of the most incompetent, worst unions in the history of, fellowships. The way we get our health care is, I mean, they make it, and I'm not sure this is all SAG-AFTRA's fault, but the healthcare companies make it as complicated as possible so you won't use them. Because it's the only industry I can think of that makes their profit by actually not giving you the thing you pay them to give you. It's like you bought a car and went and and you say, wait, I bought the car, it doesn't have wheels. They say, well, we don't think you need wheels. Try for a while without wheels, see how you do. It's like, what? I paid for the freaking car. Give me the wheels. But, you have to fight, claw, and anyway.
100%. But that's what they work on. They want to exhaust you so that they don't have to pay.
So you just quit.
Right.
But the point of the story is that Téa was on the phone with them, yelling at them. And she was like, listen to me. My husband doesn't have health care. How dare you? And I was like, oh, look, she's going, just like kicking some ass and taking names for her husband. I was very proud.
It's very sweet.
It was sweet.
Yeah, yeah. So, did you honeymoon?
We sort of did, but it wasn't. I mean, we don't do anything traditionally. And I can't talk about this too much for privacy issues, but we were someplace in the wilderness with no electricity for about a week, and it was fabulous.
No electricity?
Yeah, no electricity.
No lights?
No lights. No, I mean, there's a refrigerator and there's a wood stove.
How does a refrigerator work?
Off propane, which is, talk about cognitive dissonance. How does something that burns make a refrigerator keep your shit cold? I don't know. Anyway, it works. So, there's a stove and a refrigerator and a wood stove. And
So you can't talk about it because why? Other people go there, or you're going to go there again, and you don't want it revealed?
Now, see, you're very clever. I say I can't talk about it, and you ask me why I can't talk about it, getting me to talk about it. That's very clever. There's a technique of discourse that was propagated by Cicero, the Greek philosopher, called praeteritio. And praeteritio is where you say something along the lines of, I don't want to talk about your secret place in the woods. I don't want to know exactly where it is. I don't want to know whether you have propane or how you heat yourself or how you keep things cold. I want to talk about something else. So you've just talked about the thing you've said you don't want to talk about. That's praeteritio, and you're sort of using that on me.
Okay, brilliant.
I ain't going to fall for it.
Okay, but so I have another way of doing that as well, which is, ready?
Mm-hmm.
What's the question you're so tired of answering? Do you know why that's the same thing?
No. Oh, because then you answer it.
Well, I don't like asking the same question. My interviews are supposed to be very different from any other interview, and they are because I don't ask those questions. But I also know that when there's one question that everybody asks, it means people always want the answer to it. So it's a way of me getting a question that everybody wants answered without you feeling like, oh, she's asking the same question as everybody.
Right.
I just revealed a big secret.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question, and I don't know what it is. I know there are questions that annoy me, but I can't think of. You haven't asked me one yet, so.
Really? Oh, okay, good.
So I'm not annoyed yet.
Okay, good.
I'll let you know. I'll just go, oh, that was it.
I don't think I will ask that question.
Yeah, probably not.
If I haven't yet, I probably won't.
Yeah.
But I know that it is a little tricky, but then I also like to pair it with, what's a question nobody has asked you that you are like, why isn't anybody asking me about this?
Okay, I just thought of this. Isn't a question, but this is something that vexes me, and people say it to me all the time. Well, I'll give you an example. So I was in Washington, D.C., trying once again desperately to save the National Endowment for the Arts. And during our couple of days in D.C., I make a lot of speeches about arts and why I believe they're important and why arts education are important, to try to sway our elected officials into keeping the National Endowment for the Arts and changing the narrative about arts in this country.
Yes, please.
Which is, kind of shameful, the way we treat them as some sort of luxury item or something that's extraneous when they're actually vital. Anyway, so I was at this place giving a speech, and I gave the speech, and the club where it took place, the guy came up who's the president of this organization, and he asked if there are any questions. And Amy freaking Brenneman, who has a weird like TV incest with me because she played my sister's daughter and then she played my wife.
Your wife on
creepy.
Private Practice. But where was she, your sister's
Judging
daughter?
Amy.
Oh. Wait, how did she play your sister's daughter? You're the same age, right?
No, Tyne Daly played her mother.
Oh, your actual sister.
My
okay,
actual sister.
Okay, yeah.
My sister Tyne. That's a question.
That's interesting.
That's something annoying also. You and Tyne Daly are brother and sister? I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
It's only been 40 MF years. Come on. Anyway, so.
People are still shocked by that, by the way.
Yeah.
All the time, people can't believe your brother and sister.
You would think. Anyway, yeah. And by the way, that irks me too. Like when they talk about, family acting dynasties, and we're inevitably left out. My dad, my sister, and me. Like, what are we, chopped liver? I mean, we've all had pretty significant careers. Anyway, so the guy says, any questions to the audience? And Amy Brenneman raises her hand. And this is serious stuff. You know, I'm talking about stuff that is important to me and important to the United States culturally. And she said, why are you so handsome?
Are you kidding me?
No. And I'm like, Amy fucking Brent, Jesus, Amy. First of all, don't objectify me, which is what I said. And second of all, it's like, you know, I would like to, if, I mean, I'm working very hard on my own self-esteem, but in terms of other esteem, could someone please like recognize me for something I did and not something I have no control over? Like, you're handsome. Okay, Wh- I that's like saying the sky is blue. You know, I mean, it's kind of like that thing of some people say, you know, I'm proud to be a man. It's like I'm not proud to be a man. I'm just a man. Like I'm proud of things that I've achieved, things that I've worked hard to get done, but I'm not proud of things that were just part of how I, you know, the luck of the draw, how I came to this world. So if people think I'm handsome, fine. But I hope that they will, you know, actually look past that and see. I mean, maybe they don't think I've done anything significant, but if they do, say, I like that you did something, you know, significant.
So that's the thing you hear the most
I
is
hear that a
how
lot. I
attractive
hear
you
that a
are.
lot. I hear that a lot. I also hear, this is the one that I really I have to think deeply about. Um, a lot of times when people see a performance that I've given in something, they come up to me and they say, I saw that thing you did. You were actually really good. It's like, actually? Did you really need to qualify that? Because that's a tip off. That means you thought I was going to suck and you actually thought I was good. And it's like, what have I done to, you know, earn that assumption that I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to suck? I mean, maybe I'm fooling myself. Maybe I do suck. That's possible, but hopefully not.
That's funny. That's a tip off. It reminds me of a tip off that I get when my husband says something.
Uh huh.
He'll make a statement of some kind, and then he'll say though at the end of it. So he'll be like, "It's good though," and that's how I know he
Though.
doesn't think it's good. So you got to watch out. You say these things you don't know. People
Mm-hmm.
say they you don't
Yeah,
you
it
don't realize
comes
you're
out.
saying
It
it,
comes
and
out.
yep, and
Yeah.
people will pick up on it. Okay, I'm not gonna forget where we were, however. So
Uh oh.
nice try distracting me from the place in the woods.
Oh, the place in the woods. Yeah.
Yes, I'm going back to it. So the place in the woods you can't say because what? Why? What's the secret?
The secret is that it's a place that I need to protect uh, uh, in every way possible from anyone knowing where it is or what it is
Because
because of privacy issues.
your privacy issues?
Everybody's privacy issues.
Other people who stay there.
Everybody involved.
By the way, you are literally the only person who I would keep pressing to this degree.
I, oh my God. What am I going to do with you? You're
This is what you
impossible.
get with me.
This
You
is what
gotta
happened. You
know it.
come to LA.
Exactly. Oh, right. It's LA talking, but you're the only lucky one to get this kind of treatment.
No, but honestly, I can't. I
Okay.
can't talk about it because um, just for the reasons I said. It needs to remain a mystery.
Okay. Let's move on from
Okay.
that. Okay. So let's move on to what it's like now to have stepchildren who
I
are
th-
adults.
it's hilarious. I love calling them my stepchildren, and they kind of, you know, laugh and roll their eyes at me like I'm making a dad joke. But you know, it's it's kind of hilarious to think of it that way. But I do love Téa's kids, and she loves my kids, and um, I told them, you know, I mean, and they, you know, they have a dad. I don't want to get into that territory, but I told them both that, you know, if they were ever in a bind in any way, they could always count on me to be there for them because that's the way I feel about them. And I know Téa would be that way for my kids. So,
That's cool. I
yeah.
wonder if it's easier to get together when the kids are at the age they're ready, they're older. You know what I mean? Like it would have been much more complicated, I think, if they were young kids when you started getting together.
I don't think there's any rules about that.
Yeah.
Because I made the mistake of, I'm about to say something really personal, and I really shouldn't.
You should.
I made the mistake of thinking that because my kids were older, that I could have the perfect divorce. Like, and I literally said stuff like, nothing will change at all. We just can't live together anymore. That ain't true, and I think that also because my ex-wife and I tried very hard to keep all our shit away from our kids. When we told them we were getting divorced, they're like, "What?" Like nobody was screaming or fighting, or not that they saw us screaming and fighting and throwing stuff. Like what? How? We thought everything was fine,
So
and
they were blindsided.
they were a little blindsided. And I think on some level, kids know everything. That's not an original idea,
Definitely.
but I think that it it's it's just difficult no matter how you slice it. I mean, sometimes I've known people that have blended families early, and I mean, I have a dear friend who's the stepdad is way more of a committed parent than the dad,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the kids feel that way too.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But what was the problem with telling them everything's going to be normal and the same?
that it turns out that's a lie. I didn't mean it as a lie at the time. I thought maybe that was true, or I was hoping that would be true, but it's not the same. It's not the same when your parents are not connected anymore. And I think that it's very sad. I mean, divorce sucks. It really sucks. And I'm not a person who unloves anybody. I still love my ex-wife, and we had a lot of great things together. We had two amazing kids together. So when it becomes impossible to go on, it's just uh, it's sad and it's difficult. And I don't think either of us said our vows flippantly, like you know till till we don't get along, do us part.
Mm.
So when it becomes apparent that it's not going to go on, it's just hard on everybody, and a lot of it is hard to even talk about intellectually. It's almost a nervous system thing, this feeling of this family, this core thing,
Mm.
and when that goes away, it's a big period of adjustment. It's kind of like mourning, it's kind of like something died, and
Well,
and
it
you go
is,
into
yeah.
mourning, and grief is, in my experience, a very baffling uh, thing to deal with because I mean, I remember when my mom died, I was seeing a therapist and we talked about the 5 stages of grief. And I was talking about it like it was a checklist. And I think I love this therapist. He would call me like, I think he said, like, no, numbskull. You know, it's not like a checklist. It's like you might start on stage 2 and go to stage 5 and then 1, then do 2 again. It's like these are suggestions about the way you might feel when you're experiencing grief, and there may not come in order, and one stage might not come at all. They might come 10 years from now, but it's uh, it's like everything else. It's a process.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so many interesting things there. So I last week when I was in New York,
Hmm.
where I belong,
Hmm.
according to you,
Yes.
I was interviewing Mitch Albom. Do you know who that is?
Yes. How do I know? How do I know
He
Mitch?
wrote a book years ago that we all read,
Uh-huh.
Tuesdays with Maury.
Oh, right. Yes, of course.
So he was talking about grief
Hmm.
and how, so you remember Tuesdays with
Yeah.
Maury, right?
Vaguely, yeah.
Same. Like I told him, it's funny because I told him that I remember reading that book at the time and
Hmm.
was more of a feeling, like a nervous system thing. Like I remember the feeling of the book. I don't necessarily remember what he wrote in it. I didn't say that
Hmm.
exactly like that. That'd be sort of insulting, but that I remember it. It's a good thing. So he interviewed his professor who was dying, and he had a bunch of life lessons that his professor told him. That was the book. So one of the things that he realized was about grief, and grief is for him all about gratitude. It's like instead of seeing loss as why did this happen to me? Why did I lose this person, this situation, whatever? Instead, to have gratitude like, oh, I'm so lucky that I had this person in my life for this long.
I have two things to say about that. One is I recently came across somebody saying that grief was love with no place to go.
I heard that too.
And I thought that was great.
Yes.
Like you have all this love, and you have the person that you gave it to is not there anymore, so it's kind of orphaned. Um, and anyway, I've been thinking about that. And the other is about gratitude. Um, and part of my sort of life practice is to try to spend a minute every day, being grateful for the blessings that I've had. But what I realized not all that long ago was that, um, if I was doing a list of the things I was grateful for, it was always the low hanging fruit. Got enough to eat, my kids are healthy, but, all the stuff that was like standard, like I'm in the world, I'm alive, and I'm comfortable. But that has deepened for me because I've been trying very hard to have gratitude for the challenges that I've had and the pain that I've had, uh, and the the tragedy that I've had, and the trauma, all that stuff. To be grateful for all of it as part of the entire experience of being a human being. Um, One thing that I'm apt to say when people say "How are you?" is I'm apt to say "Poor to excellent," meaning that I'm having the full range of human experience. Because as we also know, that can change at a moment's notice.
Yeah, as you should too,
Yeah.
because those experiences, the full range,
Mm-hmm.
that's living, that's
Mm-hmm.
life. That's something that I try to tell people too. You know, I'm a therapist, right? Yeah, I have to remind you of that. Do I
Yes.
have to remind you of that?
No. Yeah,
Okay,
I
good.
remember.
Because I was reminding, I'm like, wait, this is ridiculous. Anyway,
So you'll
but that's,
tell me after if I'm healthy, if I'm psychologically healthy.
I'll give you a review at
Okay.
the end. I'll give everybody else the review.
Yeah.
I won't tell you. Yeah, but when you feel those feelings, the pain, the sadness, all of those things, those are signs that you're alive, that you're living a full life, because those are the human emotions. It's not only about being happy all the time.
Right.
Happiness is like just one of the things.
That's absolutely right. And I think that the mistake that a lot of people make is trying to either avoid the pain or repress the pain, and it's just pain. So I have this kind of image in my maybe I should be a therapist. I have this image in my mind of uh, things that are painful or challenging being like Velcro, and if I don't experience it and express my pain, whatever, however I may do that, then it's liable to Velcro itself someplace inside me, and then the real problems start. Because that's going to stick in there, and something is going to go haywire, rather than just letting it move through.
100%. There's no pain more painful than repressed pain.
Mm.
That's the worst. It's Velcroed in and it impacts you throughout the rest of your life until you take it out. The only way out is through.
That's right. As Winston Churchill said, if you're going through hell, keep going.
Keep going. So grateful for those feelings also. So are you grateful that you have gotten stronger by processing those things also, like not just that you're living a full human experience, but do you also have gratitude that you learned something?
Well, here's the thing. The older I get, and I've been this way really forever, but I'm more conscious of it now. I uh, I'm not so down with uh, people who are unexamined, who aren't interested
Agree.
in like i- looking at who they are and
Mm-hmm.
why they're that way and what's going on with them. And so, uh, and I say this all the time, but so many of us, and we're brainwashed by all kinds of media about this, think that there's a finish line And there's not a finish line to anything, except maybe when, the plug is pulled and we're 6 feet under. But until that, and I say this very seldom, but I actually learned something from a TV show that I did called Madam Secretary, because I played an ethicist, basically. And I learned that ethics are not something that are immutable. They're not set in stone. Ethics have to be re-examined like everything else, because given the circumstances, the zeitgeist, the state of the world, these things have to constantly be looked at and reevaluated so that you can find a comfortable place in your psyche to exist. So what's my point? Just that those things that have been painful or challenging are things that I am happy to look at. Sometimes even if they're painful, because I feel like sunshine is the best disinfectant. You put it out in the open, and you can really look at it and then move on.
You've got a lot of good gems. It's true. Who gave you that one?
I don't know.
Oh,
it's just
boy, but it's in there.
I just have, my mother used to call it a wastebasket mind.
Oh, wastebasket. I don't think this is garbage, though.
A lot of stuff chucked in there. I don't know how it got in there.
Yeah, but it's not garbage. It's not a wastebasket.
No, thanks.
The trauma. So what's some of the trauma that you are grateful that you've had? What are we talking about?
Well, it's funny. I hesitate to talk about trauma because I always go back to the fact that I've never been hungry, and to me, like physical trauma, I have one of my best friends in the entire world was my roommate at this wacky boarding school that both Téa and I went to in Vermont, the Putney School. And we were perfect roommates because we were good friends, not best friends. And we could not have been more different. He was born in Mississippi, grew outside of Memphis. Until he got to boarding school in Vermont, he had seen white people. He had never interacted with them. And we became roommates. And I didn't learn until probably 15 years ago, this is way, way, way after high school, that I knew he was poor. He grew up in poor circumstances. I knew he had 19 brothers and sisters. But I didn't know that he was poor, like no shoes, no food, starving, like he was destitute poor, like, Ken Burns' documentary poor. And he's an incredible human being. He's wise, he's accomplished, he's really made an incredible life for himself. So to me, that is overcoming trauma. On the other hand,
knowing it's all relative is what
no,
you're saying.
it's all relative. I mean, I was telling my therapist a while ago about this time I remember being with my mom, who, I think I've talked about her before on the show. And my mom was a wonderful, interesting person, and during my formative years, a terrible drunk. And so I grew up taking care of her. My dad left when I was eight or between 8 and 9, someplace in there. And I was remembering one time when she was driving me to Kennedy Airport. We had this little VW Bug. And when I look back on it now, I think, oh, she was probably shit-faced. Because we're driving along this highway, someplace on Long Island, and suddenly she squawks and said, "Oh, damn it." And I said, "What?" And she said, and I'm like 10 years old. She said, "I missed the exit. I guess I was flying to California to see my father for a minute." And so we missed the exit. Next thing I know, we are driving down this median, like down this thing on the grass, and then up the other side, like wheels spinning. And we get on this highway, and we're driving the opposite direction. We're going the wrong way on a 3-lane highway. And I've always told that story as being really funny, I guess because I survived. But my therapist was like,
yeah,
holy God, like that's traumatic. I was like, it is? She's like, yes, that's traumatic, for an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old, whatever you are, to like see their life flash before their eyes and have that kind of terror. on a highway. That's, I was like, oh, hmm. So, anyways, we're talking about the definition of trauma, but it's one of those things where I am at a point in my life where I'm really, really happy. Mostly really happy, and I've got so many wonderful things, and I think about, it's the butterfly effect. If I hadn't experienced everything that I experienced and gone through all the stuff I've gone through, would I be here now? Who knows?
Yeah. But that's interesting about that traumatic situation also, because it also, so you were scared and traumatized in situations like that. That's one memory you have, but there were other things.
Plenty.
Plenty. And then you took care of her also.
Well, that's the thing, right? But I've come to understand what that is, which is, children are born and they have a mother, and without the mother, they die. So if your mother is not taking care of themselves, which is what they should be doing, or taking care of you, you have to take care of them so that you can survive. And my mom and I my mom, bless her, she got sober, and she became the world's most fantastic grandmother. That's her, how she atoned for all that. She was amazing. And all her grandchildren and great grandchildren adored her because she was really wonderful. And anyway, I had a lot of issues with her for a long time, but at the end of her life, like the last year and a half, somehow, whatever resentment I had kind of just fell away, and I just loved her so unconditionally. I was so happy that another thing, I stuck with it, right? I was peeling off that Velcro bit by bit. Took a long time, but finally, I peeled it off, and I got to just love her up. But I heard another one, a good one the other day. Like somebody said that resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other guy to die.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
It's true.
Yeah.
And it's a good one because it doesn't get you anywhere except it just hurts you. So you peeled away at the Velcro. So that was through therapy?
Yeah. So, I wasn't, I remember saying to a therapist at one point, I said, I'm a 50-year-old guy and I got mommy issues. And he goes, well, how do you think I make my living?
Right.
It's
welcome to the world.
Welcome to the club. Everybody in here has mommy issues. So,
yeah, it's funny. I was listening to something last night on the plane, actually, from that place, New York again, and it was about how a lot of psychology has learned to blame moms for a lot, which is true. And it's like there are two sides of that, because it's true, like, why are the moms getting all the blame? But at the same time, like, a lot of the things do come from not the greatest things that may happen with moms or dads. I don't think it's just moms. It certainly can be equal. And I think the reason why moms are being targeted more in therapy, let's say, is because they're closer to the kids often.
Yeah, the one who can take it gets it. And I've been thinking a lot about, we do this about everything, but we human beings, we write stories about everything. We have a narrative that we make up, and sometimes it's a fantasy. And, a lot of times the fantasy is about the dad who left, and he's up on a pedestal and all the shit goes on the mom. And it's like, wait a minute, that guy walked out on us, how come he's not getting all the crap? Because or maybe it's women also. It shouldn't be gender specific, but the one that walks out is kind of left in this crystalline bubble of this fantasy about who they were or something like that.
Yeah. But also, there are a lot of people whose dads have left. That's definitely made the biggest impact negatively, is the dad leaving, and they're not aware of it until they start therapy. But that's common too, that, like, again, it's one of those things, you may not see it may not be obvious that that's the issue, but that's the issue.
Yeah, it's funny, I may have said this to you before, but a few years ago I had this epiphany, and I was watching and by the way, I'm just going to say this to your viewers or listeners, whoever they are. Don't pity me. I'm not asking for sympathy.
Oh,
I
nobody's
don't. I don't want to
pitying
be.
you. Don't
I don't want to
worry.
be like. I don't want to be like crying poor me. But I was watching Sports Center because I like sports, and they were interviewing some young athlete, and he was telling a story that I've heard a lot from young athletes being interviewed. My dad left when I was little. My mom was a drug addict, and then I found this one thing, and it saved me, and here I am, and I thank God I'm in the NBA or NFL or NHL, whatever they are, a professional athlete. It saved me, and I suddenly like this light went on. I was like, wait a minute, that's my story. My dad left, and my mom was a drunk, and I wasn't, and I don't, uh, and I've downplayed this story. I think mostly because, I wasn't in some, there weren't bullets flying in my neighborhood or anything like that. I wasn't in a desperately impoverished situation. I wasn't, wealthy, but I thought that's that's my story too, um, and it's not, it's not an easy road.
So, how did that story go? How did that impact you?
Well, I mean, I think that one of the things that it did was it did two things at once, and there. So my new theory of life is that life's like train tracks. That it's going like this, and there can be two things that are in direct conflict with each other, ideas or experiences, and they're both right. They're both valid, and there they go. So it impacted me in that I became um, needless, wantless, and incredibly competent because I had to take care of myself and I had to take care of my mom. And um, that's a really good quality to have, being able to take care of yourself and and being competent. And I'm what they used to call handy. I can do stuff. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a helpless person. On the other hand, it can somehow make you very isolated when the hardest thing for you to do is to raise your hand and say, I need some help. you know I'm fine, I'm okay. It can be very detrimental to you, and also it can stand in the way of you having intimate relationships if you're not willing to say, you know uh, I'm a mess, or I'm falling apart, or I need help, or I can't do this, because you want so badly to have it all, you know, wired together.
Mm, that's it, totally. So, when was a time when you should have raised your hand and asked for help when you didn't?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's probably been a million
Yeah.
times. There's been a lot of
But
times.
one that you look back on and say, I should have asked for help at that time?
Oh man. Well, I mean, I can't really think of something like deeply emotional,
Okay.
but just stuff like, you know, uh, when I was 22 years old, I was in a terrible car accident, and got pretty banged up, and I went to St. Vincent's Hospital, where I saw three people die that evening, which was not a happy experience. Drug overdose, heart attack, and stab wound. And I'm sitting there like feeling like, get me out of here. Same thing. I don't deserve to
Mm.
be here.
Mm-hmm.
My hip is cracked and my leg is screwed up, and there's blood, but I'm fine compared to these people who are dying. Um, but uh, you know, I was 22. I couldn't find my ass with both hands, and like physical therapy, I didn't ask anyone, what do I do? I was just like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
and even I remember uh, when we've talked about this, when I broke both my legs skiing.
Yeah.
And I was very, very proud of myself because I had such a good attitude. I was like, okay, that's behind me. Physical therapy, I'm going to get back. I'm going to, work my ass off to get myself better. And Téa came to me at one point, and she sat me down. I was probably already sitting down since I had two broken legs. And she looked at me and she said, who are you? I said, what do you mean? She said, you broke both your legs. You're like, you've been in a wheelchair, you're in a walker. Like, what? How, what is your, and I said, I'm just have a good attitude. And she said, come on, you got to share. You can't tell me that this doesn't kind of, have an effect on you. And of course, I burst into tears and I sobbed for a while. And I was like, you're absolutely right. And it didn't change my good attitude, but basically what she was saying was give yourself the opportunity to feel that this sucked. This is a sucky situation. Poor Téa. I turned 60, I broke both my legs, and I became a grandfather, and I was in a walker all at the same time. She was like, oh, God, what have I gotten myself into? This guy's he's falling apart, granddad. Anyway.
I should have said no 2 years in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is exactly what happened. So you still stay you, but you try to do it all internally. And it sounds like you have that kind of dynamic where she pulls it out of you and it needs to be pulled out.
Yeah.
And you are willing to give it. You don't even maybe see it that you need to express it, feel it, whatever, until she gives you the opening and then you take it.
We share that. I mean,
She's the same way?
She's the same way. And we have to, take, hold each other by the shoulders and say, hey, stop it. Let me help you. I mean, and it's not always, as profound as, breaking both my legs, but, yeah, we're very symbiotic that way.
Huh. Does she have trauma in her past too?
Sure.
Will she come on this show and tell me about it?
No, she won't.
God. Gotta keep trying.
Yeah. I'm just telling you she won't.
I know she won't.
I mean, don't spend too much time on that because you could, you'll take a lot of tread off the tire trying to get Téa in here. She's not going to do it.
I know. You once said it's like she'd rather go for a root canal.
And colonoscopy simultaneously in Grand Central Station.
Rather do that than any interview, right? You're not talking about just mine specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so that is a good example, though, of it's interesting so that the athletes are who you saw as having that story and recognizing your story in them, because also, like, it's kind of it's not a coincidence that they all have achieved this thing as a result of it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. I mean, I don't think that's always the outcome. I think that, I mean, as you know, there was a point in my life where things could have gone very, very differently and very badly because I had my addiction issues that I had to sort out, which I'm still sorting out, every day.
How are you still sorting them out every day? We'll get back to that.
Gratitude. I mean, I'm just doing my program, but anyway, what were we talking? What was I saying?
We're talking about athletes, and you were saying it doesn't always happen that way. It can take a bad turn, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who have had similar situations to mine, and I'm not judging at all because everybody's circumstances are different. Right. But there are a lot of people in that situation who follow the path of the neglectful parent and become an addict or a criminal or something. They just go down the tubes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why my best friend James didn't. I don't know why some of these athletes didn't. But I do know people who have had similar things that it hasn't gone well for them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's an interesting question. Why? Why for some, why not for others?
Nature, nurture.
It's like the term resilience. Like some kids especially seem to be more resilient than others.
Téa and I are unbelievably resilient. And that is, it's a superpower, but it's also, if you don't, include other people and have some intimacy around stuff that's happening, then it can be isolating, and it can actually, your superpower can turn into a super detriment.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of, did that impact your first marriage?
Which part?
The isolation part. I'm good. I'm taking care of this myself.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So you did things differently this time with Téa?
Oh, God, yes.
Intentionally?
I I guess so. You know, I mean, I remember when Tay and I were like 2 days into our relationship, maybe less, maybe one day, uh, she said, "Give it, tell like if we're gonna do this, I want it to be intimate. Give me all the dirt." And so I told her about some stuff, and I was waiting to be executed for some of the things that I've done, and she accepted it. You know, she even if she didn't like it, she would say, "Okay, you know, what are you doing about it? You know, what's your, how are you managing it? How are you getting through it?" And so, what we have, I think, is like true intimacy, which is, if you haven't experienced it, folks, get out there and find it, because it's freaking amazing when you can find it. And I don't know how I found it, but I did, and I'm very lucky.
What's so amazing about it?
Um, well, basically, it's a feeling that you uh, are not sort of walking along a cliff that you're about to fall off of. You know, I mean, I sort of, for the longest time, thought that any sort of, you know, conflict to me meant death. Like, you know, if I'm in an argument with someone, it's life and death. They're never going to speak to me again. It's relationship ending. Um, and I probably shouldn't talk about this because Téa doesn't like when I talk about stuff. But when we are in conflict, we don't really fight. Like, we don't scream and yell or anything. But when we're in conflict about something, it's so fucking awesome. It's awesome because we go through this whole thing, and then we actually make progress. We actually listen to each other. We actually, you know, have change our minds about things, which is like kind of unusual because, in my experience, most of the time, people want to be right, and so they don't really listen.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can give that up, which I have endeavored to do, it's just amazing to be able to, you know, get under the hood and do some deep work and not have it feel like it's going to be ruinous.
Yeah. No, being right doesn't get you anywhere. That is not the goal when you're in a disagreement with somebody. If there's conflict, it's not about being right. It's about figuring out how to move forward, understanding the other person's perspective so that you can both move forward. But both people have to do that. So you both go back and forth, and sometimes you're the one who's more right, and sometimes she's the one who's more right.
Yeah, or sometimes we're both right. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Yeah.
that's the thing. Sometimes, you know, you get to a place where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so this is just, it's like, you know, you like vanilla ice cream, I like chocolate.
Right.
So we're both right.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing.
They're both good.
Yeah, they're both good.
Although chocolate's a little better than vanilla, just saying.
So I have to say something that is really off the subject.
Yeah, go.
I don't know why this popped into my brain, but Tay and I were in some store a couple months ago, and I had to pee really badly. I said, "Can I use your bathroom?" They said, "Sure." So it was kind of one of those storeroom things where you really don't want to go, but if you really have to, you go. And so I'm sitting there peeing, and, you know, across from me is like supplies, like toilet paper and paper towel and stuff. And there's a bottle of dishwashing liquid, and on the dishwashing liquid it says 50% less scrubbing. And I was like, "What? Like what? Like how? What kind of numbskull do you have to be to think, ooh, I'm going to get that dishwashing liquid because there's 50% less scrubbing. So when I got a pot, I only have to do it twice rather than 4 times." It's like, I mean, are people falling for that?
I don't know. I mean, I guess
So
they fell for it.
it's become a thing. Like, I saw this stuff and I think about, you know, progress and stuff, and it's all about 50% less scrubbing.
Well, I guess I have to
We're-
figure out something to differentiate themselves from everybody else.
Maybe, but think of something a little more provocative or interesting. 50%. I mean, so we are using technology to get ourselves to a place. I mean, and this is kind of an advertisement for that, where we have nothing to do. We can just sit there. Think of all the time you'll save only doing your pot twice rather than 4 times. You got 3 seconds of spare time to do fucking what?
To go back
Scroll on
on your
Instagram?
phone. Yeah.
I mean, and so I'm like, I don't know. I really like engaging with life, physically engaging in life. I like feeling stuff and walking around and breathing and you know, having a screwdriver in my hand. I don't know.
Yeah. It's kind of it could be a lost art at some point because
I mean, we're headed towards Wall-E, right? Have you seen that movie?
I'm sorry to say I haven't seen it, but I know about it.
You know about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should see it.
And my dad took my kids when they were little to go see it. I remember. So you said, speaking of which, you said you're kind of off social media at this point.
Pretty much. I mean, I have an Instagram account where I follow, you know, like 6 people that I'm related to by blood. And then, of course,
I think that was how it was. I think we talked about this once.
Yeah, and then but the algorithm has found me, so I get a lot of stuff that's advertised to me that.
Do you scroll? Do you look through?
Sometimes, yeah.
And
But I try to limit myself.
What's coming up for you? What do you got?
Cooking stuff, because I like to cook. Some political stuff. And what else? Gadgets. You know, I'm a fucking sucker for gadgets. God
Kitchen
damn it.
gadgets or what?
All kinds of gadgets.
Like what?
Oh, you know, like the thing where you go to LA and you got a rental car and you're trying to look at your phone to do navigation. There's no place to put it, so you put it in the vent. That kind of gadgets.
Okay,
when you
pause.
travel to LA and you got to do your phone and your stupid watch and your you
Yeah.
know AirPods, and you have to have something that you put in your bag that charges all 3 gadgets.
Okay. You need to get a rental car that has CarPlay so that when you get into your rental car, it goes right onto the car's screen.
Oh, thank you. Really? Is that what I need to do? Thank you for your advice.
Well, I mean, it
You're
sounds
a really
like you
good
need a
therapist.
gadget. It sounds like
You're
you need a
such good
gadget to like
therapist.
stick in your
I
vent.
need CarPlay.
Why are you putting your phone on the thing? I'm just saying, it sounds like you don't know about CarPlay.
I know about CarPlay.
So you can't get in a car. This is what I do. Is like I'll
Okay,
go
next
to
car I
Hertz.
rent, I'll call you and you'll tell
All
me.
right, and I'll go in. I'll be like, this does not have CarPlay. I'm out. It's worth the extra 5 minutes to get the right car.
Okay, all right.
Okay, back to my therapist POV. Tell me about self-esteem. You mentioned it before. You said you're working on your self-esteem.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm a fucking actor and we're all
Yeah.
insecure, blah, blah, blah. But it's yeah, it's I mean, it's odd for actors because they're so mostly, you know, very insecure, and yet putting themselves out into the public to be judged all the time. And a lot of people, myself included, get a big hit off other esteem, right? The esteem that comes from without. And sometimes if there's a long pause in that other esteem, then you start to doubt yourself, and you don't know if, you know, I mean, it's the question about, you know, you're so handsome, or you're actually good. Like what, there's just the seeds of self-doubt, like maybe I suck, maybe I'm a fraud, maybe I'm an imposter, that whole thing.
Right. So for you,
Mm-hmm.
being good looking makes you feel less secure, which, because it's interesting, it's ironic, right? For most people, they want to look better. They feel insecure about their looks.
Well, but here's the thing. Okay, I'm being really honest now. This is full disclosure for your people. It's complicated, and it's back to the train tracks. I hate it. I hate it when people say, "Oh, you're handsome," blah blah blah, because I have no control over it. I mean, I have some. I could gain 200 pounds or something. That would look different. But you know, you're so good looking, and also vanity. I want to look good. I want to be in shape. I want to be healthy and live long. So it's like I hate it, and I take care of it. And I haven't found out how to sort of marry those two things. But I think that's way for, you know, it's being an actor is not a psychologically healthy pursuit. It's just not. I mean, to put yourself purposely in the way of that much rejection and uncertainty is a weird ass thing to do, because, uh, I'm sure there's people who watch this and go like, "Oh, fucking Tim Dillon, what's he get?" But it's a lifetime of being. I mean, the no's so outweigh the yeses that it's
Yeah. Yeah.
ridiculous.
You're going to get many more no's than
Yeah,
yeses.
and
But you also get a little bit of a thick skin, don't you?
well, I mean, I've always said I'm either, stubborn or stupid enough
Yeah.
to just keep saying like, thank you for punching me in the face. Will you please do it again and again and again and again? I mean, you can get a thick skin, but I find that usually once a year there's a no that really gets to me, that really eats at me. But it's not just the no's. It's like now, I'm at a point in my career now where, um, I'd love to get a no, because that means that I got an opportunity. And I just, I have very, very few opportunities, which to me is uh, confusing and, I think, kind of screwy, uh, because, so much of what the entertainment business has become is something I don't recognize. And, I know that I'm in get those damn kids off my lawn era of life, but I think that anyone would, I think people would be lying if they didn't cop to the fact that the entertainment industry has changed exponentially over the last 25, 30 years.
Right, right, right. So, okay. So what's with the no opportunities? I think we talked about this last time too, but is it because of what? What's the situation?
I don't know. I mean,
Because
I
there's
mean,
less going on. There's less.
there's a lot less going on. I'm in an age range now where there's a lot more competition,
Mm-hmm.
because it's usually not. I mean, they're not a ton of leading roles for 69.5-year-old guys, um, and there's and thankfully, casting has opened up a lot. So there's the competition is even more, because people of color and more diverse people are getting an opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
be in there. And the part of it that's treacherous is when, on the times where I convince myself that I don't have opportunities because I suck, because people are going like, "Oh, Tim Daly, ugh, handsome, but ugh," you know. Um,
There's no way. The evidence is so stacked up. Like you cannot. This is something I do often
mhm.
with people in therapy. Is like, let's look at the evidence. I mean, the evidence is so you have so much evidence that you don't suck. You would. There's no way you would have been working all of these years. Like you're constantly. I know it doesn't feel like you're constantly working. I get that, but at the same time, you are over the arc of your life. You've been constantly working.
Yeah, no, it's been
So that's
extraordinary. I've been
not
very lucky.
just a fluke. It's not. And for you to think that it could be and that you actually have no talent and you're going to be found out is ridiculous.
Well, you're very kind.
And I'm not being kind. I'm being truthful, factual, and I'm just telling you the facts. Look at the evidence.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to gauge. I spent most of 2024 working the theater in New York,
I remember.
and I just, I worked my guts out, and I was very proud of my work, and it got zero attention, zero. And I was like, what, what do I have to do? I did a play with Tyne Daly off Broadway, and I thought we're going to be a huge smash hit. We got zero attention, and I couldn't figure out why. And part of me thinks it's because I was with her. Like I'm like the blanket that goes over the thing. But I thought, Tyne alone doing a play where she made her New York debut 50 years earlier, the Cherry Lane Theater, was going to be a story. But
Well, what did she think? Did you discuss that?
yeah, she was bitter about it.
She was. So
Yeah,
what did she think the reason was?
we can't figure it out.
Does it
Can't
have
figure.
something to do with theater? Like, is it because it's theater and like it's not covered as much because it's off Broadway or
I don't
what?
know, but it was just weird that Tyne and I did this new play by Teresa Rebeck, who's a significant. She's actually the most produced woman in the history of New York theater.
Okay.
Um, and the New York Times sends their like fourth string critic. It's like, what? Like, what? Who makes that decision? And why weren't we given the benefit of, their significant reviewer to review a significant playwright and two significant actors? I don't know.
So I'm just gonna throw a theory out there. I don't know, but is
Okay.
it because you have like George Clooney doing Broadway now? Do you know what I mean? Is that why? Is that where the attention is going? Is to the big name draws over there? That I don't know. It's like that's what theater has become is like a thing.
Well, that's Broadway, and I mean, good for George. I would know. I mean, I would be with Téa in Grand Central Station getting the colonoscopy and root canal, rather than pay $1,000 to see George Clooney.
But this is what I'm
It's
talking
just like,
about. This theater has changed
how
so
do
much.
fucking
It's a
people
different
go to the
animal.
theater? My dad used to do like 3 Broadway plays a year. They were all considered a success.
Yeah.
Do 3 months of this, success. 3 months of that, 4 months of this, and bus drivers could go to the theater.
Not
Now,
anymore.
no, who can go? Well, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's like everything else. It's become so stratified. There's this thin little strip at the top, and I can afford to go to the theater, but I can't, with a good conscience,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
plop down $800 for a night with George Clooney or, even Hugh Jackman,
Yeah.
who's great, but
And
it
that's just
offends
one
me.
person.
It
It's
offends me.
one ticket.
Yeah.
You're going to go with one other person. That's
Yeah. And then,
$1,600.
and maybe you go out to dinner and are staying in a hotel and take an Uber. I mean, you're talking about like, anyway.
But everything is more expensive. Now we're going to sound like old crotchety
We
people.
are all crushed.
We need to
Or
like
I am.
shift this.
Yeah.
All right. So getting back to the no's that are really hard.
Uh-huh.
Are these the no's that like, is it something that Greg Kinnear got?
Oh, Greg Kinnear gets all my jobs.
I know. That's why I said it.
Uh, yeah, not necessarily. Sometimes it's some small theater thing or whatever. I mean, I haven't had one, a really bad one recently, so I don't want to court it.
Okay.
But I approach this whole endeavor as I think being an actor is a service industry. I am serving an audience and a writer and a director, and I'm the conduit for the stuff, the originators of this stuff, and I feel like I'm useful. I feel like a useful actor, and when I don't get to be of service, then I feel like I'm kind of just out of sorts. I'm just treading water.
Yeah, I think it really is the career you're in. It's really tough. Like it is tough. The ups and downs and your whole purpose of being, and then there are big blocks of time where you're not doing anything. Even though I said that you've been constantly working, I know that there are the periods where you're not. But I just remembered you are in one of those very popular, very well watched shows now, a new one.
Yes, Leanne, with my buddy Leanne Morgan, who is an absolute doll. She is. I mean, I can't say enough about her. She's humble. She's funny. She's kind. And she kind of sets the tone for a really fun set.
So do you like working on Leanne?
I do. It's not. I mean, let me amend that. I love working on Leanne. I really love it. It's not the kind of thing that is sort of artistically challenging, and I'm digging into this whole thing and changing the world, but it's worthy of giving people a fun, honest laugh, and it's a good time, and as I've said many times, if you polled people around the world about what the best possible job would be, the computer would spit out sitcom actor,
Yeah,
because the schedule is great. And yeah, so I have a great time with her.
I think I remember you saying last time that you wanted that type of job again. I feel like you said that.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, here's another semi-guilty admission. So I've started doing these Comic-Con things.
So what is this? You sign
You go to
things?
a convention center
Pose?
someplace, and people come up and you sign autographs, and you take pictures with people, and you do panels. And you know, uh, to my shame, the first one I did, I was like, oh, I'm so pathetic. I'm going to go and take, the last welfare dollars from people on the spectrum to give them an autograph. I'm a rapacious douchebag. How can I do this? And then I went and did it, and 100 people a day would come to me and they would say, you were my childhood. You were my childhood. I don't know how I could have done it. Or my mom had cancer and wings was the only thing that got me through. I just needed relief so badly. Or, my dad was in prison. Like all these stories about people who saw whatever it might have been that I was doing as useful to them, not necessarily as a profoundly provocative, life-changing, experience, but it's just relief from the burdens of being a human being or the, exigencies of all kinds of stuff that we go through. And that changed my attitude about it in a profound way, because you don't get to interact with your audience that much. And being able to, be kind to someone and have a conversation with them and ask them about what they do, where they're from, it means so much to them. Why did I get onto that?
I don't
Just because doing a show like Leanne, which is not political, it's not controversial,
right.
it's about human beings in the world, is, I think, valuable right now.
I think also you probably would like, in addition to that, a Sopranos type role.
Always.
Always. I don't understand it. There should be more of those for you. But I think you told me once that you thought it's because of your face.
David Chase, who is a dear old friend of mine, whose 80th birthday party I went to recently, which is really
80?
fun. He's 80, yeah.
What?
Yeah, and he's
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, and we just like get each other. We totally get each other, and thank God for that, because he wrote this part for me that I could do,
Yeah.
and I've had my shots, but it's I think harder for people to look at this face and think, that guy grew up in a holler in, Tennessee, and doesn't have teeth. I mean, there's makeup, there's all that stuff, but I don't wear my my
Grit?
my grit as much as other just faces do. I mean, I'm constantly shocked at meeting some people who, well, Jimmy Gandolfini, right, plays Tony Soprano, and is very conflicted about that, because he's getting all this public praise for playing a psychopath, a misogynistic brute.
Yeah.
One of the worst human beings you could imagine. And he's bringing something to it that makes you root for the guy, which is a kind of a magic trick that, he and David worked out. But knowing him, like, he paid a big price playing that part, but afterwards I saw him in the show called Gods of Carnage. It was a comedy on Broadway. He was happy, he was relieved. It was just, and I got to see who he really was, this gentle, nice, interesting guy, so, but he was forever, playing this bad guy, that bad guy, this bad, just because of this.
Right. I just recently rewatched Get Shorty. He was in Get Shorty.
Oh, really?
It's bizarre. He played I think like a stuntman on for the movies, and then he was working with some guy, but he had like no lines almost. It's wild. It was right before The Sopranos, I think. But The Sopranos really opened him up.
Yeah.
And allowed him to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you would like more of those things. You've tried to get more of those things. They just haven't happened.
I'm at the point in my career where I'm like, I go by the credo of Robert Mitchum, who said, "I read everything that's available to me, and I choose what's least embarrassing." So that's kind of where I'm at. Now, if only I could get something to read that was available to me, then I could make that choice. But it's been slim. I think I'm retired.
You're not
I think
retired.
I'm retired, and they did this, like they sent the memo to the wrong address, and I just
Right.
haven't been informed yet.
I've heard people say that they decide, Hollywood decides
Yeah.
when you've retired. I don't think that's true anymore. I also like mentioned to the fact that we're in Soundbox Studios right now, Soundbox LA, where there are all these guitars that you were talking to the owner, Tim, about. And recently, Al Pacino was here. So Al Pacino was doing some voice work here. And, 83, doing his thing. So I think, and I remember Ed Asner, up until the last minute, he was on Dead to Me. He's doing his thing. There's time. Like, you can keep going. I don't think you need to be retired.
I listen. I mean, I think you're right. I just think that I'm I'm a little weary of trying to figure out like how to make it happen. So if it happens, great. But I'm one of the extraordinarily fortunate people who I don't really have to worry about, paying the rent. So I will go to the wilderness and carve bowls and, play the guitar and look at the world and make dinner until someone says, we need you to do something that is significant or interesting to me, which will, hopefully be Leanne. I mean, they didn't kill me and I'm still her boyfriend, so maybe I'll go back there. I should mention, since I'm here, this little movie that I produced and starred in that shot in Springfield, Missouri last year, premiered at the Burbank International Film Festival the other night.
Is that why you're here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And last night we received the audience award for Best Feature Film.
Oh, okay. What is it called?
It's called Dust to Malibu.
And where can we get it?
You can't. Not yet.
So it will be somewhere later?
That's our hope.
Oh, right, because yes.
I mean,
it depends on who picks it up to distribute it.
Tiny little movie, and we're seeking distribution. But
so you were a producer on it. What is that? So what does that entail? How big of a job was it for you personally?
It was. It comes and goes. When I was acting, because I was in almost every scene of it, it kind of went to the back burner because I had to concentrate on trying to play this part. But it becomes a little significant now. The thing that I am so bad about or bad at in terms of being a producer is asking for money, looking at contract. I mean, there's a lot of technical stuff like negotiating and dealing. I'm just out.
Well, wouldn't an agent do that?
Well, no, a producer. The producers do a lot of that. Sort of on the ground work. But I'm much more about like, what about this shot? What is this scene about? I'm helping the director, in this case, the writer director, see their vision through. So I'm more of an artistic producer, I guess, than a nuts and bolts producer. Okay, Stephen Ward, by the way. Stephen Ward is the name of the writer-director. He wrote a beautiful script.
Okay. All right, so it'll eventually be somewhere where everybody can
That's our hope, yeah.
Catch it. Did you go to the gala over the weekend? Was it last night?
Last night.
Did you see Tarantino?
I did.
Did you talk to him?
No. I know him a little bit, but I did
not. Oh,
you
do? What's he like?
Well, last night he destroyed my soul and spirit because, and it wasn't his fault. They did an interview. Award shows are abusive. They're sort of, they really are abusive because they go on so fucking long that everybody is in a bad mood or people just leave. And, it just gets to be ridiculous. And they did an interview with him that lasted for like an hour and 40 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
In the middle of the awards?
Before the awards. So I'm sitting there at this table. I've been there for 4.5 hours, or maybe 5 hours, and Quentin finishes finally his interview. Not his fault. The interviewer should have known to keep it short. And then they said, we're going to take a 15-minute break and then come back and present the awards. And I was looking at a table. There were 25 awards, and all I could see was 25 speeches. And I'd been there for 5 hours. I was like, I'm out. I actually wasn't there to accept the audience award.
No way.
I was like,
Couldn't
I can't.
do it. Yeah.
I can't. I'd spent all morning with my, all day with my grandsons, chasing them around. I was like, I'm exhausted. I can't. Anyway. But thank you, Burbank International Film Festival. Just make it shorter, please. I remember being at the Emmys once, and Danny Stern stood up and screamed out loud, "I will give $500 to someone to bring me a fucking sandwich." He was starving. We were there for hours. Anyway, all of them.
Yeah. I mean, these are basic things you figure they would be tuned into.
Yeah. So this is my tip. If you go to an award show, stuff your pockets with food.
All right. I'm going to ask you one last question.
Okay.
And I'm going to go back to the personal things.
Okay.
Because I like this. What are you still working on personally?
Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Well, I'm always working on my sobriety, and that's not like I haven't had the desire to drink in 100 decades, but that's kind of everything is a program, right? Everything is something that you need to do consistently to sort of find your way through. So I keep, doing some self-examination and some meditation and stuff like that to try to, make some progress. So I'm working on that. And this could be a really long story, so I'm not going to tell the whole thing. But when I was a kid, I had 3 imaginary friends: Brian Quinn, Pitchy Lure, and Bendy Malone. And I was thinking a lot about my childhood and about, sort of for me, when my dad left, that wound, which was significant. And I have 2 pictures of myself, one pre-divorce and one post-divorce. And the stark contrast between these 2 little boys is profound. And so I've been thinking a lot about who those two versions of me are, and can I sort of introduce them to each other and make something. But then I started thinking about my 3 imaginary friends, and I thought maybe there's a third one out there. Maybe there's a third version of me that I need to incorporate into this whole thing. I don't know why it struck me recently about the imaginary friends, but I was thinking about how one of the things about needless wantless, and one of the things that children do, this as being a therapist, is when they have a parent in trouble, they try to be good because they think if they're good that somehow things will work out. So I have Pitchy Lure, Bendy Malone, and Brian Quinn, and one of those guys is the good boy, I think, who just wants to be a good boy. And that has followed me around a lot in life. So I'm ready to not to listen. That's one of the things that drinking solved for me. Easy. Want to be a bad boy? That was simple. Mm-hmm. And then it almost ruined me. But and it's not that I'm sort of honestly. I remember so often the beginning of my career, people say we got to find you something edgy, bad boy. And I'm like, fuck it. I want to play a good guy. I watch a lot of entertainment and I'm like, who am I supposed to root here for in this thing? Just give me someone to root for, some quality. They don't have to be perfect. They can even be pretty bad, but something. But if it's just all this degraded, salacious crap, I'm out. Which is another reason I like doing Comic-Cons, because I was the voice of Superman, and Superman has taken a lot of shit for being a Boy Scout, but I'm like, so what? I mean, here's Batman, he's, I am vengeance, I am the night, whatever. He's all depressed and dark and all that stuff. What about fucking Superman? Not only did he lose his parents, he lost his planet. He's not whining. He's out there doing good. He's just like trying to be a good guy. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I'm
So
with that. Superman is like the only superhero that
the only one left.
feel.
Yeah, everybody else is turned so dark. I mean, when Batman starts killing people, it's like, okay, come on. Like, where's the hero part of the superhero?
Right. So that's so interesting. So I think that your three imaginary friends might be. I'm getting a little into.
Oh, here you go.
Freud, right?
Yeah, here we go.
It's like it's the good one is your super ego. It's like your super ego, and your id. Those are Freudian terms.
I know them.
Oh, you okay?
Oh, really?
That and car play, I'll teach you. Let's keep talking. I'll teach you everything. But isn't that funny that you have these three imaginary friends and one is a super ego? So perhaps the other two are id and ego. And that you who wanted to go out and do whatever he wanted, that's your id taking over.
There you go. See, this is actually my theory about why, the world, but particularly Americans, are obsessed with gangsters, and have elected one to the presidency. Is that the id unchained is very attractive. You know, like most of us, we're driving along the freeway, you know, somebody cuts us off. Maybe we honk at him for a second, but part of us is like, our nervous system's like, I'd like to run that motherfucker off the road and punch him in the face. If you're a mafia guy, that's what you do. You run him off the road, you beat him up and take his money. You just do whatever you want, you know?
That's interesting that you say that. I had never thought of that before our obsession with like gangster movies and whatnot. But I have thought about that with the president. Like I have thought about that this must be a lot of, again, I'm going into gender here. I probably shouldn't, but like I feel like especially for a lot of men, it's like suddenly Trump can do all the things that they can't do. Like it's like, because who would want this person? I don't even understand. But I think part of it is what you're talking about.
Billionaire, you shit in a gold toilet, you bang hot chicks, you know, say whatever you want, do it. You know, it's like it's the unrealized, you know, id.
The id. It's the id.
You know,
Yeah,
unleashed.
Yeah. Interesting.
And you know, it's uncivilized is what it is. But so my theory, well, this isn't really my theory, but have you read that book Sapiens?
No.
Well,
yeah, I'm aware.
The big takeaway for it is right at the beginning, and that is that, you know, 50,000 years ago, whatever it was, we were these scared little animals running around getting eaten by saber-toothed tigers. So our nervous system was really on fire. We weren't like sharks or lions who have no predators, don't have to worry about anything. And then there's this moment of time where our brains just grew exponentially, right? And suddenly we had this huge intellect, and we vaulted to the top of the food chain. But our nervous system was left in the dust because it needed about 1 million years to evolve to a place where it wasn't scared and thinking like, someone different, kill, you know, something I don't understand, I reject. And we don't. So we have the intellect to know we have enough to share, we can do all this stuff, but somehow our nervous systems just keep us in this place of fear and
that's everything. It's true. And so it's normal, it's physiological, it's instinct, it's there, it was there for a reason, but you don't have, it doesn't need to be there. It's being applied to all these things today that
just for your listeners, we really don't have to worry about saber-toothed tigers anymore. We're okay.
No fear.